Welcome to the Phoenix Project, a space for honest conversations about trauma, survival, healing, identity, and what it really looks like to rebuild your life after experiences that changed you. I'm Jennifer Chandler, and as always, this podcast exists to turn pain into purpose, one step at a time. Today's episode is deeply personal to me because we're going to talk about nervous system regulation, survival mode, and the physiological impact trauma can have on the body. But I'm also going to share the heart behind something I've quietly been building behind the scenes, and that is Artemis Coaching and Company, LLC. I think one of the biggest misconceptions about healing is that people assume trauma only affects your thoughts. But trauma affects the body. It affects the nervous system. It affects how safe you feel in the world, how safe you feel in relationships, and sometimes even how safe you feel inside yourself. For a long time, I didn't even realize that I was living in survival mode. I thought I was just anxious, or overly sensitive, or emotionally exhausted. I thought constantly scanning the room, overanalyzing people's tone, struggling to relax, always expecting something bad to happen was just who I was. But many survivors live in survival responses for so long that it starts to feel like their personality. Fight, flight, freeze, fawn. These are survival responses. They are automatic nervous system reactions designed to help us survive danger. Fight can look like anger, defensiveness, aggression, or feeling the need to regain control. Flight is the urge to escape physically or emotionally. It can look like anxiety, restlessness, perfectionism, overworking, staying constantly busy, or feeling unable to slow down. Freeze happens when the nervous system essentially shuts down to survive overwhelm. People may feel numb, disconnected, stuck, unable to respond, unable to think clearly, or unable to take action even when they want to. And fawn is a survival response centered around appeasing others to stay safe. It can look like people-pleasing, over-explaining, abandoning your own needs, avoiding conflict, or becoming hyper-focused on keeping other people comfortable. And many survivors move between these responses without even realizing it. When someone has experienced prolonged stress, abuse, coercive control, trauma, manipulation, instability, or chronic emotional unsafety, the nervous system adapts to survive it. Sometimes survival looks obvious. Sometimes it looks like panic attacks and hypervigilance. But other times, it looks like emotional numbness, difficulty resting, feeling guilty for slowing down, feeling disconnected from yourself, or constantly feeling like you have to earn safety. And I also want to talk for a moment about what actually happens inside the body during traumatic or overwhelming experiences, because I think understanding this removes so much shame. When we experience danger, the brain and nervous system shift into survival mode automatically. The amygdala, the part of the brain heavily involved in detecting threat and danger, becomes highly activated. At the same time, the prefrontal cortex, the area involved in reasoning, decision-making, emotional regulation, impulse control, and logical thinking can begin to go offline. And this is why so many survivors later say things like, I couldn't think clearly, I froze, I couldn't react, I don't remember parts of what happened, I felt disconnected from my body, I knew something was wrong, but I couldn't stop it. Those are not signs of weakness. Those are survival responses. During trauma, the body also releases powerful stress hormones and chemicals like adrenaline and cortisol. Adrenaline increases heart rate and blood pressure. Breathing becomes faster. Muscles tense. Blood flow shifts towards survival functions. The body is preparing to protect you. The nervous system is essentially asking one question: how do we survive this? And when trauma is prolonged, repeated, or overwhelming, the nervous system can begin to stay stuck in those survival patterns even after the danger has passed. This is why survivors may continue feeling hyper alert, anxious, emotionally reactive, shut down, exhausted, disconnected, or unsafe, even in environments that are no longer dangerous. And something that I find incredibly important is that many trauma researchers and body-based practitioners believe trauma is not just the event itself. It is what happens inside the nervous system during the event. Somatic trauma expert Peter Levine proposed that PTSD symptoms can develop when survival responses and defensive reactions are interrupted or unable to fully complete. In other words, the body may still be carrying unresolved survival energy long after the danger has passed. And honestly, I think that perspective changes everything. Because instead of asking, what's wrong with me? We begin asking, what happened to my nervous system while I was trying to survive? Many survivors feel frustrated because they feel like they've tried everything. They've done talk therapy, they've tried positive thinking, they've tried pushing through, they've tried to be strong, and yet their body still feels on edge. That's because trauma is not only psychological. There are physiological changes that happen when we live in chronic stress or survival states. The nervous system adapts, the body learns danger, the body learns unpredictability, the body learns hyper alertness. And healing is not about forcing yourself to, quote, get over it. Healing is about helping the body slowly learn safety again. And for many survivors, healing is not about reliving trauma over and over. It's about creating conditions where the nervous system can finally exhale. I want to say something that I hope really lands with someone listening today. You are not broken. Your nervous system adapted to survive experiences that overwhelmed your sense of safety. Survival responses are not character flaws. They are protective adaptations. And honestly, I think so many survivors carry shame for responses that were actually trying to protect them. Hypervigilance protected you. Distrust protected you. Emotional numbness protected you. Shutting down protected you. People-pleasing may have protected you. Those responses developed for a reason. And understanding that mind-body connection is a huge part of why I created Artemis Coaching and Company, LLC. The name Artemis felt deeply symbolic to me. In Greek mythology, Artemis was known as a protector, a guardian of women and children, a symbol of strength, intuition, independence, and protection. And after everything I've personally experienced, everything I've witnessed survivors carry, that felt meaningful because so many women lose connection with themselves after trauma. They lose trust in their intuition, their voice, their body, their boundaries, their identity. And Artemis Coaching was created to support women navigating life after abuse, coercive control, difficult relationships, and major life transitions. My work focuses heavily on nervous system regulation, boundaries, emotional safety, rebuilding self-trust, and helping women reconnect with themselves after survival mode. I am a certified functional medicine practitioner and integrative health coach with a special focus on PTSD support. I'm also a Reiki master of more than 20 years, and I am certified through behavioral health professionals. I offer trauma-informed coaching, support, Reiki, nervous system education, and survivor-led guidance in a space that is compassionate, grounded, and judgment-free. Many of the women I work with are survivors of domestic violence, narcissistic abuse, human trafficking, emotionally unsafe environments, or relationships that left them disconnected from themselves. My approach combines education, empowerment, nervous system support, body awareness, and practical tools to help women move forward with more clarity, confidence, stability, and self-trust. Because healing is not about becoming someone new. It's about coming home to yourself again. And when people hear the phrase nervous system regulation, I think sometimes they imagine something complicated or unrealistic. But honestly, sometimes regulation starts with incredibly small things. Learning how to breathe deeply again, learning rest without guilt, getting enough sleep, reducing overstimulation, creating emotional safety, practicing boundaries, spending time with safe people, learning to notice what your body is feeling instead of disconnecting from it. Sometimes healing is not dramatic. Sometimes it's slow, quiet, consistent, gentle. And regulation does not mean you're calm all the time. It means your body slowly develops a greater capacity for safety, connection, presence, and recovery. One of the biggest things I want survivors to understand is this. I do not believe survivors are weak. I believe survivors adapted. I believe the nervous system learned survival, and healing is not about becoming someone completely different. It's about reconnecting with who you were underneath survival mode. If this episode resonated with you, I just want you to know that you are not alone. You deserve support. You deserve peace. You deserve spaces where your survival is understood, not judged. And whether you are just beginning your healing journey or rebuilding your life after years of surviving, I hope this episode reminded you that healing is possible. As always, be kind to yourself, be patient with yourself, and know that you are not broken or damaged. You are a beautiful, complete soul who survived things that were never meant to be carried alone. And healing is possible. This is the Phoenix Project, where we turn pain into purpose, one step at a time. If today's episode spoke to you, please share it with someone who may need this conversation. You can follow the podcast, leave a review, and connect using the links in the show notes. You can also learn more about Artemis Coaching and Company, LLC, and you can schedule a session at www.artemiscoachingco.com. And as always, thank you for being here. Until next time.